This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
Bryn Spejcher. We've talked about her before. She was the one convicted of involuntary manslaughter for fatally stabbing Chad O'Melia 108 times. And she blames it on the weed. Because God knows, any of us who use weed legally, the first thing you think of when you smoke weed is let me go stab someone 108 times. It's never like, let me go put cottage cheese on Doritos with pickles and hot sauce and maybe some nacho cheese and black olives because that would be fucking amazing. No, it's let's go stab someone 108 times. I'm just talking about what I did last night. But, you know, it's like, to each their own, I guess. And by the way, cottage cheese, never a good idea. Despite receiving probation and community service, she deems it inadequate. Yes, inadequate that she got 2 years probation and community service.
She's not going to jail.
Not going to jail for murdering someone. That seems,
and her dog, too. She killed her own dog.
And she killed the dog. She seems that she thinks in her mind, and somehow the equations that are adding up in her brain are telling her this is too much. This is not fair. You are not being treated right. My God, I can only imagine what other shit this woman's going to do before she's dead. Either because she kills herself, someone kills her. I'm going to guess it's not going to end in natural causes. Amelia's family protests, and they're pursuing a civil case against her, which I don't know what the purpose of that really is, because she probably doesn't have any sort of assets. Spejcher intends to appeal her conviction, potentially facing a new trial and a harsher penalty. So this is how bright she is. She could actually... And I hope to God she gets a harsher penalty. Maybe this is natural selection actually working because she's stupid enough to try and appeal this. The 32-year-old California woman convicted of involuntary manslaughter and the fatal stabbing of Chad O'Melia, 26, is appealing her conviction, alleging she was deceived into using marijuana before the deadly attack. Oh, don't get deceived into using marijuana. Again, you might want to put nacho cheese or cottage cheese on Doritos, depending on what you have. Or stab someone 108 times. Spejcher's conviction stems from the tragic incident where she stabbed Amelia 108 times before also harming her dog and herself. Despite the severity of the crime, she received a sentence of 2 years on probation and 100 hours of community service, a punishment she and her legal team deem inadequate.
They want her off. I think they want to...
She should just be considering herself ungodly lucky. That's insane.
That's what I think.
This punishment was so not adequate. It just defies logic. In an exclusive interview with the Daily Mail, Spejcher disclosed her intentions to appeal, arguing that Amelia, whom she had been dating, coerced her into consuming marijuana because she's an adult and she couldn't say no. She claimed she had expressed a lack of romantic interest in him just 2 days prior to the incident. And that has anything to do with anything, how? According to Spejcher, Amelia pursued her into using a potent strain of marijuana despite her limited experience with the drugs. She alleges that he manipulated her into taking additional hits, leading to a drastic and unforeseen reaction that resulted in a fatal assault. I want to know if the thing was laced with anything, because I don't believe natural marijuana in any strain or form or strength could make you do this.
And it was really a high dose of THC.
Yeah, I get it. It doesn't make you do this.
But even then, even if I buy everything and that the marijuana there was some marijuana-induced psychosis, even if all of that happened, because I do think something weird happened.
I do too.
She killed her own dog and she's stabbing herself. I do think there was some kind of psychotic episode happened.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily know it was the marijuana.
Yeah, and was it? Maybe it was. Maybe it wasn't. Don't know.
Maybe it brought him a natural
someone
psychosis.
Ended up dead.
Yeah.
And she definitely killed him. Yeah. And I would think I would have such a hard time living with myself that this whole thing kind of feels like now they're victim blaming and it's his fault.
Yeah.
Because he gave her the high level of THC in this and she didn't know what she was getting. So it's his fault that she stabbed him 108 times. It's kind of how it feels to me.
This is not.
But she doesn't even have to serve jail time. Why not say to yourself, like, my God, I am so grateful that I don't have to serve any time in prison. I'm going to show the world that I'm better than this.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize for this. I'm going to lead a good life and be a good person. And I'm going to gladly do my community service.
Because all roads lead to narcissism on this show. It all comes down to that.
Made a good point.
Everything. I mean, honest to God. I mean, there's psychosis or extreme narcissism. That's basically the driving factor behind most of the crimes that we talk about. People that are only concerned with themselves. They can never view themselves as doing anything wrong, even if they were on something. And she lucked the fuck out with her sentence. I mean, she got it's insane. It's insane.
Probation and community service. And then there was some really small fines. Like she had to pay $300 and $200 to this. So she basically gets off, like, go do actual community service. You know, it's almost like a penance. Like, I did this. I don't know what came over me. I don't know how it happened. But she also took the hit. It wasn't like he forced her and injected her with something.
No. And it goes into some great detail here. Again, this is not like rape where someone says no and then they're still raped. This is someone choosing to smoke weed. And at some point, people have to take accountability for their actions. And if you choose to smoke the weed, then that's on you. And
I think she did have a psychotic break. I really do.
I think maybe she's just really psychotic to begin with. I mean, Spejcher's attorney, Michael Goldstein, maintains that her intoxication was involuntary and a direct result of Amelia's deceit. Goldstein cited expert testimony during the trial, which characterized the violent outburst as unpredictable and unforeseeable. The defense argues that the marijuana involved had an exceptionally high THC level of 31.8%. I'm going to tell you, that's not that crazy of high compared to what's out there in the market legally.
Really?
It's not. Far beyond what Spejcher had previously used. They emphasized the lack of public health warnings regarding the potential for psychosis and violence associated with such potent strains. That's a lot of strains out there, actually. That's pretty common. It results in nachos, usually. Despite the legal maneuvering, Amelia's family remains dissatisfied with the outcome of the criminal proceedings, which they should be, advocating for harsher punishment and intends to pursue a civil case against Spejcher scheduled for the coming weeks. Amelia's father, who led a protest outside the courthouse during Spejcher's sentencing hearing, during which she received no prison time, expressed profound disappointment with the justice system's handling of the case. He lamented that his son and their family were denied justice. As Spejcher received only 2 years of probation and 100 hours of community service. We feel completely failed by the system. It's because they were. Amelia's father told Fox News in January, not only did my son not receive justice, but our entire family has been denied closure. The next hearing for the civil case is scheduled for May 16th. Meanwhile, court records indicate that Spejcher is planning to appeal her criminal conviction. Prosecutor Naf Ziegler noted that it's common for defendants to appeal the verdict rather than a sentence. She expressed interest in the appeal, particularly given what she considers a lenient sentence by Judge Worley. Nafgizer expressed that if the appeals court determines the verdict should be overturned, a new trial would ensue with a different judge, potentially leading to a different sentence. Prosecutor Nafgizer notes that if the appeal exceeds, the new trial could result in a different judge imposing a potential harsher penalty. So in this case, I'm going to say, go ahead, appeal this shit out of this. Let's get this back in the courtroom. Let's get a judge who's not a fucking idiot, and let's get you in jail for the rest of your fucking life.
But so if, say, you were drinking and you had taken medication or whatever, or you just drank a whole shit ton and you're blackout drunk, you got in your car, you don't remember.
Oh, you mean the Karen Reed case?
There you go.
It's exactly the Karen Reed case. That's the Karen Reed case. Yep.
And then you're like, but I don't remember doing it.
That's the Karen Reed case.
And he kept buying me drinks.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my fault that I drank them, but I blacked out.
Yeah.
I don't remember doing that. That's not like me.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it probably isn't. You wouldn't ever want to kill somebody
Yeah.
because you're blackout drunk, but you did.
Yeah. But
That's the thing with this.
But
even if the psychosis was caused by the weed, even if that's the case, she still killed somebody.
she stabbed someone 102 times. It's incredibly different.
Count to 108. Like
that's incredibly different than getting behind the wheel of a vehicle and hitting somebody. You chose to get a knife and engage in stabbing someone 108 times. I understand more the blackout drunk. I hit somebody like you were fucking
still are gonna. People are sitting in prison right now for that.
Yes, and they should
still are responsible for what they did. They
should be.
Remember it. They're not those type of people.
Yeah,
but they did the crime.
This is different.
Where she did the crime. She might have had a psychotic break, but she still did the crime.
Yeah.
So why not just go? My God, 2 years probation and 100 hours of community service, like.
Consider yourself lucky and shut the fuck up.
Whatever you want me to do.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand. Like, I would feel so horrible. And they're blaming the victim because he's responsible. He had the weed. He didn't tell her it was so strong. She didn't have much experience with weed. Well, then why is she smoking it at all? Oh, because he pressured her. So I just feel like there's victim blaming going on in this case.
She's a 32-year-old woman.
Dead.
She's not like a 15-year-old. She's 32 years old. She can make her own decisions, and she made a bad one, and she doesn't want to own up to it. She got incredibly lucky with her sentence, and she's so fucking narcissistic that she thinks that should be underturned because she doesn't want to serve the 2 years probation and 100 hours community service. Fuck, people get shit like that for like peeing in an alley and being arrested. You fucking murdered someone by stabbing them 108 times, and you think that that's too harsh? Yes, please appeal, because I can't wait for prison justice to catch your ass.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on True Crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.